Hi there, my name is Mark, a computer science student and commerce entrepreneur and Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. Welcome to my channel where we empower growth and innovation tomorrow. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and feel free to comment down below and let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about how to learn programming. Some tips and tricks on how you can learn programming with faster speed. So, when it comes to learning how to program, you have to understand your motivation. Like, you wanted to build a website, you wanted to build a software like mobile application, or you wanted to solve some problem or participate in competition. You have to be a clear goal. So, for the first tips I want to give you guys is to learn how to Google. You may sound very funny because just Google. Everyone can use it. Everyone understand how to use it. But when it comes to programming, you have to understand how to find resource in tutorial, documentation, things like that. With second, using Google. So it's very it's not an easy task, especially when you come to a very tricky question with tricky problem. You have to understand what Google keyword I've been using in order to help me to find the problem. A solution that I can solve the problem. So when it comes to solving this like programming program, it's very important to learn how to Google. The second one we'll be talking about is to understand how to read documentation. When it comes to programming, if you're reaching higher and higher level, you often will encounter some technology or resource you haven't used before, or you are not familiar with that. So you have to read documentation in order to help you to understand what is it and how can I use it. So basically it's how the programming world, you have to read documentation, you have to read technical manual for you to understand how to use this program, software development SDK, for example. Yeah, it's very important to read documentation, but when it comes to reading documentation, it's necessary to read from the first page to the end of the page. You have to, again, you have to search what is the content I need to understand the whole architecture of the SDK, the whole things that I'll be using for the software development process. So another one we'll be talking about is copy and markup. When it comes to programming, especially for web programming, I don't know why this programming is so like useful for this tip. When it comes to programming, there's a lot of simple code online. Because recommend is very popular or probably useful for a lot of people. So there are a lot of people doing web programming. So when it comes to web programming, there's a lot of simple code available on GitHub, Stack Overflow, on documentation side. There's a lot of simple code you can using, so you can just directly copy it to save your time and paste it. But you have to mark out important line you want using. Like for example, there's a function of the code. You have to document the idea. What is the idea behind this code? How this code works? So you have to mark out the different section of the entire code. It helps you to understand the technology behind that programming, like framework. Like for example, I'm coding in React.js, and I will be needed to copy some of the simple code and markup in order for me to understand. It's actually a very effective way for us to learn how to program. And once you like for the next tip we'll be talking about is like, once you complete this markup process, we will be writing some of the code that we for example, for customizing some of the feature for your website, and you will be needed to mark out your own code in order for our programmer to read or understand, in order to help you to like building a better interface or better code quality. So it's really important for a programmer, every programmer, to learn how to mark up. That is really important knowledge, a skill for you to learn. And so far, the important things like learning how to learning and searching and markupping, and That's very important. It's the way we communicate. Like Markup is the way that the programmer communicate with each other in the world of programming. So if you understand how to do that, then yeah, that's very convenient for you to like advance in your next level. And the tip number 5, we'll be talking lots of advice of what tips we'll be talking about is find some online tutorial to follow. When it comes to programming, I believe the most important or effective way to learn programming is to learn through projects, just project-based learning. Like you need to find a project you want to working on, then you will have to identify like within I wanted to build a web project. Then I wanted to see, okay, I want to do this in the Java, or I wanted to do it in JavaScript. Like if I want to do JavaScript, I want to understand Node.js engine, the VIA engine. I need to understand HTML, CSS, and some of the framework we're using on the web programming And once you have that project-based learning, you also need to follow some tutorials that will help you to grasp the basic understanding of like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React.js framework. So for a lot of people, I just wanted to do some project and that's it. Really important to help you to like having a tutorial to follow in order to like understand what is the behind the scene in programming. Why I need to write this code, why this thing works like this. So when it comes to programming, I believe that there's a lot of stuff that you have to learn, but it's basically 4 important skills, like learning skill, searching skill, markup skill, and just general what's that called? Communication skill for you to communicate with other engineers, a learning skill for you to learn new stuff, searching skill for you to communicate with search engine, and the markup skills will communicate with other programmer remotely. So that basically is all about communication with machine and human all at the same time. So that's basically the end of this video. If you like it, please subscribe, give thumbs up, and yeah, thank you for your watching, and see you next time.